storyteller, Rhonda. She loves trivia, visiting historical sites to learn even more trivia. She adores trying new things, and this is one of them. Please whoop it up for the positively powerful Phyllis Jones.
That's a tough act to follow. Well, as we say, I am her mother. No, we did not have that crappy childhood. But my story begins with watching, it's different, watching the protests that are going on right now across the country on all the college campuses brought me back to a time when I experienced a similar situation on my own when I was a teenager. One, I grew up in the segregated South, the deep South, New Orleans, Louisiana. Okay, I was born in 1950, so that should tell you about the segregated South. And I'm not saying it, I'm saying it because when we were growing up, things were different. We had a great childhood. My mom and dad, we had a great, they taught us well. We went to church, we went to school, we did the whole 9 yards. But they never talked about what was going on around the country to us. So as far as we knew, life was great. Okay. But one day we were going to the beach, and we all in the car, we going down to the beach, and we passed this great little piece of Ferris wheel, the roller coaster, the 9 yards, and we just kind of kept going. And I'm sitting here like, well, how come we're not going there? My mom said, just stay in the car and ride. That was all she said, just stay in the car and ride. And we kept going a couple of more miles out of town and went to another beach, which was down a dark road with a lot of trees, and it was there. That was the beach we were allowed to go to. I did not know that at the time. So that was one question. Back in 1964, and I'm giving you that date for a reason. In 1964, this is another time, I was coming home from school. We were on the bus. We had to ride the bus. It's a pretty good distance because we lived in one area of town where we were allowed to live, and the school was in another area of town which was considered uptown. If anybody knows anything about New Orleans, the lower Ninth Ward was not a place you wanted to be if you didn't live there. Okay, that's where we lived. Anyway, we were on the bus, we with our friends, we having a great time on the bus and everything, and we got to a certain route going home, and as we approached this district that we had to pass, the white district, we had to pass that one to get to ours. As the bus was on there, we just having a good old time on the bus. Like kids do when they come home from school. All of a sudden, we got to this area in front of William Franz Public School, which happened to be 4 years earlier, the same school that Ruby Bridges desegregated. Okay, so we passed through there was a mob of people. I mean, it was horrible. It was a mob, they engulfed the bus, you could barely move, they were beating on the bus like this, throwing glass, and shouting things that I will not repeat. And it was just a mob mentality. We sitting on the bus trying to figure out what is going on. All we did was ride the bus. We on our way home. We don't know what's going on. But it was horrible in the street. They were beating on the bus. The bus driver told us to put up the windows. At the time, just to give you a little history, the buses used to have real glass on the windows, which is why they're now plastic, because people threw things. Glass was flying all over us. He told us to put the windows up, get under the seats, and stay there on the floor under the seat. But he, thank God, he was black, but he kept that bus moving through that crowd. But he had to go extremely slow so as not to hit anybody or to kill anybody with that bus. Because they were just trying to, it was bad. But you know, curious me, I decided I'm gonna get up and look and try to sneak up there to see what's going on outside. And all I could see was just a sea of white folks just going absolutely crazy. And we still don't know what's going on. Anyway, we finally get out of that, make it to our bus stop, to the area of town where we normally get off, and I walked 2 blocks to my house. But when we got off the bus, I noticed my mom was at the bus stop. And I'm like, that's odd. She never meets us at the bus. Because we only have to walk 2 blocks, so she never meets us at the bus. But she was visibly shaken. She got me off the bus. We hurried the 2 blocks home. We got inside. But she never talked about it. We don't know. We still don't know what happened until we watched the news that night. Come to find out, the reason for the whole chaos that day and the craziness that we went through and the hate, slurs, and everything that was directed at us on that bus that day. And we went through, I don't know about anybody else, but I know I was terrified, I was excited, I was curious. I ran the whole gamut of emotions. And I'm 14 years old, I had no idea what was going on. Well, we found out through the news that the reason that the whole city erupted, it wasn't just that area. We saw on the news there was riots all over town. It was the day the Civil Rights Bill was signed. And we're sitting there like, it's amazing. We didn't know this, but yet that anger and all of that craziness was directed at children that had nothing to do with that. So that incident that day kind of really helped me maybe answer some questions I always had about why we couldn't go to that beach. Because my mom never talked to us about it. She wanted to keep us as normal as possible. So I'm sure she may have been upset and afraid, obviously, because she met us at the bus and brought us home. Okay, but now at the time, it answered the question about why we had to pass a beach to get to the beach. Why I had to, our high school had to go to court to sue somebody to play football against another school. Because we weren't even allowed, there was only 3 high schools at the time that we could go to. 3 public high schools that we were allowed to go to. And those teams kept beating the same people all the time, so eventually they get tired of playing the same people. They had to go to court to sue for the right to play another high school in the same city. Thank goodness they won that, by the way. They won that suit, and when they did play that school, they beat the hell out of them. Had to give it to them. But, and another thing, later, it also made me really proud to know that I didn't grow up, my parents didn't teach me racism and hate. They taught us how to be normal, decent families. And I'm sorry I'm getting emotional because I experienced this. But one thing, if I take nothing else away from this whole experience, the day that my daughter went to Loyola University in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I took my mom with me, my mom, to go enroll her in that school. My mother said, oh my God, I never thought I would see the day that my granddaughter would be enrolled in a school that I was not allowed to walk into and to go to and be allowed anywhere on this campus. And now I'm enrolling my granddaughter in this same college. And I thank God for that I didn't grow up with hatred. I still don't have it, I will never have it. But I am also aware of what is going on now. And those things, I want to take away from everybody that you don't have to grow up with this craziness. we shouldn't teach we can't teach our kids this. I don't wanna get into it, but I'm gonna end now with, I wanna take away the thing that it all came out better in the end because my daughter has that PhD that she was studying for at that time. And she is not the only, I have another daughter who is also extremely successful. And I thank God that when you raise them with God and you raise them the right way, they're going to be successful. Thank you.